Alright, so 5.4a, factoring quadratic expressions. Basically, you've done this factoring before back in algebra. You probably did a little bit in geometry. Factor is just kind of the opposite of FOIL. And when I talk about factors themselves, remember, 12 factored is, well, like 3 times 4, or 1 times 12, or 2 times 6, etc. Those are the factors of 12. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and factor it, if you remember, into something like that. And this whole section today is really easy because the whole section today is only going to have x squared. There's not going to be anything in front of x squared. What we're going to do tomorrow is actually going to have a number here, and that's going to be a little more difficult. But for today it's super easy. It's always, always, always today based on the factors of c. And the factors of c, of course, are 1 and 8 and 2 and 4 in this example. And then it becomes a guess and check. So I'm actually going to put 2 sets here so you can see. The first thing I do is always put x in the first spot for today's notes. It's going to change tomorrow, but for today that's what it is. So I'm going to do that twice. And then it becomes a guess and check thing. I'm going to show you the wrong answer first. If I pick these factors, 1 and 8, and I plug those in, so plus 1 plus 8, well, I can FOIL it to check. If I FOIL it, I get x squared, which is good, but then I get 1x plus 8x and then plus 8. Well, this is good and this is good, but when I add these up, I get 9x, which is not what we need. So I go to the other one. So again, it's kind of a guess and check here. So I plug in 2 and 4, plus plus, distribute, 2x and 4x. Well, that gives me the 6x I need, and so that becomes my solution. So in other words, if I go here, if I talk about kind of a review of how to FOIL, I just did it there anyway, but you can just first, x squared, outside, minus 4x, inside, plus 8x, and last is minus 32. Then of course, what we do from there is simplify it, x squared. Oh, by the way, look at that, it's fun. Anyways, so I go plus 4x, minus 32, and then that would be FOILing something. What we're doing again today is taking this and going backwards to get us factors. Okay? And the only one we're really working on today is this one here. There's actually a couple of rules here for doing this. The first one is really look at the sign of c. Okay? If c is positive, obviously there's two cases here, negative or positive. If c is positive, then the sign of b is both signs of factor. So in other words, if c is positive, that right there, then it's either going to be x minus, or x plus, x plus. Why? Well, because negative times a negative would give me a positive right there. Positive times a positive would give me a positive there. Either way. Okay. Now, if c is negative, well, then one factor, it's basically going to have one of each. One factor positive, one factor negative. So again, what I mean by that is it's either going to be x plus and x minus, or x minus and x plus, like that. Okay. So kind of examples of what they're saying here, and I kind of put this all up here anyway. This would definitely be x plus a number and x plus a number. Okay. This is going to be x minus a number and x minus a number. Has to be to give me negative times a negative there. And these, of course, are either going to be x plus the number, x minus the number, or x minus the number, x plus a number. Okay. Now, the rules for factoring these, and I kind of already started talking about it up here. Okay, move this down a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. The rules for factoring these, number one is determine signs of factors. Okay. Number two is to write in the variable. And by a variable I mean the x, etc. This here, I'm going to put a star by this. because I like to do that last. I mean, you can determine from what this says up here, but really it's a guess and check thing, and I don't know if I really want you to just plug it in right away. It's up to you. You can do it that way if you think you know it right away, but I'd rather have, instead of a minus plus or a plus minus, I'd rather plug in the numbers and then determine whether it's plus or minus from there. Step 3 is to list all factors of C, because we must be able to times to get C and add or subtract to get B. Those factors of C, just like I did up here. 2 plus 4 gave me 6, 2 times 4 gave me 8. That didn't work if I did these. Just like this. Negative 4 times 8 gives me the negative 32, so they multiply to get that, and positive 8 minus 4, they add to get that. Okay? So, if they have same sign, sum. If they have different signs, difference. Of course, right? So, again, that just means you would add to get B, or you would subtract. Let me put T there, to get B. If none of this is making sense, it all boils down to guess and check. Okay, like for this one. Again, I want to write in the variable right away. X, X. Matter of fact, for number 2, I'm going to do the same thing. X and X. Okay, and then I want to list all the factors of C. Well, what are the factors of 27? 1 times 27, of course, 3 times 9, and there's really not anything else. And now it's just guess and check. Well, I want those numbers to multiply to get this, which I'm doing by finding the factors of C, and then to add to get this. Obviously 1 and 27 is never going to give me 12, but 3 and 9 do. So 3 and 9 are the answer. Now if you look up here when it's plus plus, well, it's got to be plus plus, but of course it is, because positive 3 plus 9 gives me the 12 there, and I'm done. That's it. Okay. Let me do this one. The factors of 16, 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. Okay. So I'm going to figure out what is going to give me this negative 8. Well, this will never give me negative 8. This will give me 6 or 10, depending on if I add or subtract. That's not going to work. This will give me 8. Okay, sweet. 4 and 4. But how am I going to get negative 8? If I put a plus plus here, it's going to be positive 8. I don't need that. I need a negative 8, so I better have a negative negative, because again, this is negative 4x. This is negative 4x, and that gives me the middle term, negative 8x. Okay? So far so good, I hope. This should be review, really. Let's go to the next page. Okay. And let me just try a couple of harder ones, like for instance number 4. Think of the factors of 56. Well, 1 and 56, I don't expect a lot of you to know this, but 2 and 28, you can use your calculator to find these. 3 does not go into it. 4 and 14, again, another one I probably wouldn't expect you to know off the top of your head, but 7 and 8, you would. Now again, I want the numbers to add up to get this. What number is here? Well, of course, that's a 1, right? Well, 8 minus 7 would give me 1. No other combination is going to give me that. So I know x, x, I know 7 and 8, and I need to get a positive here, but I need to get a negative here. So they got to be different signs. How do I get that? Well, if I put a minus here and a minus here, that will not give me a negative. To get a positive here, well, this would be 7x, and that would be 8x. I need 8 to be positive and 7 to be negative. So really, there it is, right there. Double check it. I get negative 7x plus 8x. Yep, that gives me 1x. And negative 7 times 8 is negative 56. It all works out. There's my answer. Okay. At this point, maybe press pause, try the rest of them on this page, and then unpause it to see me kind of quickly going through this. All I'm going to do is real quick simplify all of these problems. I'm going to show them real quick, but I want you to just go through and try them on your own first, and then come back and check your answers with mine. You notice what I'm doing here is I'm just writing x in all of these right to start with. I'm not worried about signs, but now I'm just going to start thinking about the factors. 1 and 7, yep, that's going to give me 6 if I have a positive 7 and a negative 1. 63, 9 and 7 is the first one that comes to mind, and sure enough that's going to give me that as long as 9 is positive and 7 is negative. 2 and 3, 1 and 6. Now be careful here, because if I plug in 2 and 3, and I need to have, if I go plus plus like this, yeah, that's 2x and 3x gives me the 5x. But a positive times a positive is not going to give me the negative here. So that is not the right answer. If I go 6 and 1, positive, negative, well then I get the positive 6 minus 1 to give me the positive 5 I need, and the 6 times negative 1 gives me negative 6. So if you had this solution, make sure you copy this one down. I'm going to keep going kind of faster now. 6 and 3, 9 and 2. This obviously is going to give me this as long as 6 is positive and 3 is negative. Same thing here. I've got a lot of them here. 124, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. There's the one that's going to give me 2. 4 and 6 as long as I got positive, negative. And again, a positive times a negative is going to give me a negative there. That's legit. 4 and 2, positive 4, negative 2. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. That's the combination that's going to give me 1 as long as 3 is negative and 4 is positive. And this one is, let's see, 136. This has a lot of them here too. 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9. Oh, that's the one that's going to give me 5. Again, as long as 9 is positive and 4 is negative. And that's it. That's the notes. Okay? The next page, which is 18 problems, is your homework. Work on that for the rest of class. Or if you're just watching this online, hopefully that helped you figure out how to do these easily.